Hey guys, I'm at Vera Clinic at the moment, and before I jump into showing you the entire journey of my friend Kinjal, who's going to get his hair transplant here, I wanted to show you guys a raw conversation that him and his girlfriend Jess had before getting this transplant done. I thought it was very insightful, and I thought it was very relatable too, because I even had these questions about a hair transplant before getting it done. It's very unique to see his knowledge versus his girlfriend's, who didn't really know too much about it, and just that conversation. So hopefully it resonates a little bit more with you guys. Just enjoy it. But right after this video will be his full journey. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel for more.
I am genuinely really excited for you. It feels like it's been a long time coming. Are you feeling that as well right now?
Having had it done before, there's a little bit of like doubts and question marks because in terms of like the donor area, that's an important one, right? Like there needs to be.
I don't really understand what you mean by that. I don't quite understand why that's.
No, I mean just in terms of the process, like they take grafts from your donor area, and your donor area needs to have a substantial amount of grafts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So because I've had the procedure done before, I'm just concerned that I don't have enough for like the dense coverage I want. So
because it
yes,
would make it more sparse.
yeah.
In other
So the thing
areas.
is, yes, I am excited because I know I'll get like a better result than I have now, but I want good coverage, and I think yes, like you can take hair from the beard or like other areas, but like I guess I'm not gonna know all of that until I go in and they give me an honest assessment, and based on like say other people's experiences, sometimes they've said like, okay, I was expecting more, or like I was expecting to get more, and so I'm just apprehensive.
That's hard, man, to be able to manage your expectations about it all. Maybe because, I mean, it sounds like such a good clinic. I imagine that they'll be able to help manage your expectations from the get-go. Because it doesn't sound like you had that.
No,
last
but
time.
it's not about managing the expectations. At the end of the day, I have expectations, right? Like I would like to get a particular result. Like, and now if they temper that and they say that like, oh no, it won't end up at that level, then that's gonna feel a little bit like
that's gonna
off. So anyway, fingers crossed. I am excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited that it'll help. But then let's see how.
You're gonna look like
a legend.
No. You're gonna look like 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 an '80s fitness person with their headband on.
Oh.
Come on me. Remember that?
Like that Patrick Swayze video where like
when he's like
thrusting. Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah. It's not like going into a clinic and they give you like this is what it is, this is what you expect, this is your recovery. Even before Turkey.
Why is it not like that though?
Because it's happening online and virtually.
Yeah. Okay.
So I honestly went into a bunch of clinics in Melbourne.
Bet it was so expensive in
It
would be appalling.
It's disgustingly expensive. It's not even like in a ballpark range.
Yeah.
But I feel like the factors that then ended up like kind of making it easier was that the clinic offered a very significant discount. They had like an offer going on. And on top of that, when I looked into like say the travel over, I was just like, okay, let me make a holiday out of it. So I think those were the factors.
Go to Turkey.
Yeah, I convinced you to come to Turkey. But I think those things make it really easier. Whereas India initially was just like, oh, it's closer for me. I can get in and out.
Fuck, it's hard, isn't it? Do you regret going to India and getting it done?
It's a strange question because I don't know if I necessarily regret it or whether the results that I should have expected should have been on the lower side. But yes, possibly. There is a part of me that's just like, I wish I'd just come here, and I kind of like, if I was going to come here anyway, I might as well have done that. But then when you're losing hair, you're impatient.
Oh,
it's getting worse. It's getting worse month by month, year by year, and it's there's a part of you that's just like, I just want to kind of address this. Waiting is difficult. I know we talk about patience.
No, it's really interesting because I think about this like when I'm trying to like put myself in your shoes. I guess I can't imagine what that would be like losing hair in that way, especially like quite young.
Yeah, I mean,
I try to think about, okay, from my perspective, what would be a similar thing, but there isn't really anything that's quite the same as a head of hair.
like as time elapses, it becomes more and more aggravated, and it becomes more and more kind of prominent. I feel like with the move to Melbourne and like the stuff that was happening like in the year before that,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was just a lot going on, and I feel like my hair loss really aggravated at that point in time. And so, if I'm being honest with you, I just wanted to get it done. But I would say with this, like it was, as I keep saying, I was just getting like pretty
You're over it. Fucking
impatient.
over
I just
it.
wanted to kind of like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to get it done.
When would be the worst part? Is it when there's just the crown, or is it when everything is gone? Like,
It's when it starts to become more and more noticeable. So at like some points, for instance, when you can cover your hair loss through like either comb overs or like, product or whatever, you make do. It's like, for instance, when we lived in Vancouver, I think Amit saw like the fact that I would go about my life. I had hair loss, but like I just like it wouldn't be as like noticeable. I wouldn't have to do anything. I just like wear my hair in a particular way, and you wouldn't notice it unless I was like standing under the glare of the sun. But that started changing, where even that wasn't like working and helpful, and I could visibly notice it. And so when I started visibly noticing it, that's when I was just like, okay, this is progressing, and it's
Yeah.
getting worse and worse and worse. At this point in time, I really want to kind of like address this.
Yeah.
When you get to that point of noticeability, it's already pretty far along.
Did you experience any kind of avoidance and ignorance to it? Like where you're pretending it's not happening, like it's all fine.
I think with hair loss, I think we all hope, kind of buckle in for the best, and we hope that like whatever's happened, yes, this has happened, but B, we hope that A, it will reverse, and B, that it kind of will stay at the point it's at. There's a sense of denial almost that
Yeah,
it'll
yeah,
get
that's
worse
what
and
I'm
worse,
imagining.
which is
Yeah.
stupid, really, because like as we age, those are things that happen, and medical therapies are required for that amount of like mitigation. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily an active thought, because it's so jarring, and because it's something that you don't like thinking about and like acknowledging. You just end up putting it in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
and you're trying not to think about it.
The problem with that is, when we talk about our functional and mental capacity, if there is something going on like hair loss that you're super conscious of every single day, when you're out in public, when you're around other people, when you're at home alone and noticing it, it's like so much energy ends up going into that. So that's why I think getting something like this done, a hair transplant, for example, I adore you. I love you to bits. I think you're perfect as you are. I don't think it needs to happen, but like mentally, I completely understand why it would be so beneficial, because let's say in a year's time, you're not putting all of that thought and energy into that. You have so much more space for other things that like are more helpful for you or fulfilling for you.
I mean, that's what I think is the reason. Like, had you asked me about this like years ago, I think it is very important to like to actively kind of embrace those things, and I think there is a process of acceptance that is very important.
Yeah.
Just in life, but I think that there's also a little bit of with something like hair loss, especially for men, the amount of bandwidth that you said that goes into it,
That's it.
it becomes such a big one. It's like carrying a weight on your shoulders, and we don't particularly realize that in this day and age, perhaps there are some solutions that help with that, and if you can shift that, then why not? Like for instance, Amit is a great example. I feel like when I first moved in with him, that was something that he spoke about. Like, he was just like, "Hey, I just want you to know that this is the case." He mentioned that it was an insecurity and a difficulty for him. But then now, if you look at kind of like how he'll talk very much about like his confidence and the fact that like, just how it's affected him mentally. And having that direct example is very interesting, because we are having that similar experience as men who've had like hair loss. It really is a background thing that's always there, and then if it can shift it, you're not aware that it can shift it until you see it in other people, and you're just like, okay, if that's the bandwidth you can reclaim, to really lean into aging in other ways and the rest of your life, then why not?
Yeah, I
I
agree.
know it is
I agree.
expensive, it is difficult, and there's a lot of like, but if it is affordable and it is something that like you can look into, then why not? Like it just makes sense.
Because it's going to affect your well-being as well.
Yeah.
It's going to completely change your sense of well-being and free up more space.
And I don't necessarily think it's just about the artificial aesthetic element. I do think there's a sense of like confidence that like helps you just go about your life and just kind of.
Have you felt that? Have you felt a shift since the first time you got it done?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there was like some parts, like for instance, my hairline, like the front area, I was starting to get really like concerned about that. But then, like when I got it done after that, I was like, when I just frontally look at myself, I was like, it looks pretty good and decent. I am acutely aware that like not the top of my head, and the crown, but like the front was like just seeing that if now it can like be just better, then I feel like that makes me feel good. Like I feel a lot better. It's like a worry that doesn't cross my mind
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
It's like it's almost like reclaiming a little bit of yourself that just makes you feel good. Like
Yeah.
I have 199 problems, and I have like other things.
And then it's like, okay, now this isn't a problem anymore.
I got 99 problems, but balding ain't one.
Hit me. And with that, mic drop.
Mic drop.